I can't remember if it's the local government code or the government code, but it's the Open Meetings Act. And all of your meetings, any agenda items are required to be posted for 3 consecutive business days. But in an event of an emergency of some sort, you can either call an emergency meeting, or you can add an emergency item to an already existed posted agenda. And that's what's happened here is that we added an emergency item to an already posted agenda. And I would quote, oh, here we go. It's section 551.045. In an emergency or where there is an urgent public necessity, the notice of an emergency meeting or the addition of an emergency agenda item for a meeting for which notice has already been posted is sufficient if the notice is posted for at least 1 hour before the meeting is convened. So we posted the emergency item yesterday, and in my opinion, it does satisfy the 551.045 of the Open Meetings Act to add this. Now, that comes with a stipulation that the emergency item can only be, the action that you take can only be related to the emergency for which the item was added, which is the fire damage. So essentially, you can't just add any item because, oh, you say it's an emergency. It has to be that you articulate, and the action item has to be regarding that emergency.
And there's examples in that code. You forwarded me that code. It includes fire as one of the potentials.
Correct.
So, all right, well,
You guys, maybe, how do we establish that we need a burn ban? I know there's a moisture index that you guys look at.
the Forest Service, usually it's statewide monitoring on Texas Forest Service, and they monitor the drought index, the dryness, the weather, the humidity. So, what was our latest?
KBBI, we was in
Close to extreme fire damage.
right at borderline extreme and moderate.
So,
And the weather plays a big factor in that also. Once you start getting to that KBBI number index that the Forest Service puts out, we continue to have the warnings, red flag days, stuff like that.
It is dry.
yes.
Yeah. I mean, the reason I asked that, I think it's important. I mean, I don't like burn bans, and I don't know anybody in my community does, but I just want the people to know that we're not just making them off the cuff or because the volunteer fire department says, oh, we want a burn ban. There's a system in place. There's some tools that you and the judge use together to say a burn ban is needed, and you called it, and now you're asking the court to extend it.
Yeah, we go by the state's, it's KBBI.
KBBI.
Yeah, drought index and the dryness numbers and the fire danger recommendations from the Forest Service.
We've actually had, I had 3 fires in my precinct on Tuesday evening. Had to get the forester out there with the dozer to head it off because the wind was blowing quite breezy off of Highway 63. So it is a very dangerous situation.
And I also stay in touch with the fire department.
Yep.
Within the county.
And that's one thing that I would like one day when we have a workshop to talk with the ESDs about. You know, there's some opportunities for the ESDs to establish outdoor burning guidelines within their district.
It's very slim because it's also regulated by the Texas Forest Service. And they specifically state in the state of Texas that it has to be put on by the judge and agreed upon.
Yeah, and that's regards to a burn ban. But what I'm talking about is a lot of times on the high windy days, you know, you run into these fires where the ESD could say, hey, you can't, stipulations in district, whatever it may be, you can't have outdoor burning if the wind is gusting over 15 miles an hour, what have you, because sometimes you feel like, or the public feels like we put these burn bans on for 20 people out of 12,000 because they can't manage a business, and if the ESDs would do that outside of court, it may be much better where we don't have to have a quote unquote burn ban that includes fire rings and different
I
things.
agree.
Yeah.
It's just education.
Yeah.
Okay.
Louisiana Department of Forestry, every fire department, you go by in Louisiana, there's a sign out there, fire danger sign, and it's low, moderate, and high, or extreme. I'm not sure. So, and it may be something, we can look at as far as around here, because people go by the fire departments, and if they see it's extreme day, maybe don't set that pile of leaves on fire.
To save going home, I think it's worth it, really.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to extend the declaration of disaster order prohibiting outdoor burning to December 13th, 2025.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Hobson,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Powell, all in favor? All against? All right, item number 2, approve cybersecurity course enrollment form for counties with Texas Association of Counties for Newton County for 2026. And this is something that's required by the state. We have to do our cybersecurity training every year. We contract with Texas Association of Counties to provide the program and keep up with the documentation with the state. So, and I think it's $5 a person for cybersecurity training.
I make a motion that we approve the cybersecurity course enrollment, Texas Association of Counties for Newton County.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Powell, second by Commissioner White, all in favor? All against? All right, item number 3, correct 2026 holiday calendar to reflect Thanksgiving holiday as Thursday, November 26th and Friday, November 27th. I think there was a mistake on the last,
We had 25th and 26th.
okay, so we need to change it to 26th and 27th. Somebody was trying to get some extra days on.
Make that motion.
All right, motion made by Commissioner White,
Second.
second by Commissioner Benson, all in favor? All against? All right, item number 4, adopt a Newton County campaign sign policy. And this stems from, there's been a lot of questions over the last couple of months from different people to myself and the clerk's office about campaign signs. And not Angel, but Jesse, correct me if I'm wrong, your office looked up the states and worked with Misty to come up with the county's.
I don't have that information. Angel would.
Okay, well, thank
Angel provided us with all the regulations and we just turned it into a.
Okay, so we have the policy. It's in,
I didn't develop the policy.
Oh, you didn't?
I gave feedback, no, I didn't.
Okay.
I did not.
I knew you was getting on the email chains.
Have you looked at it? Anything that,
Well, I mean, I gave feedback in the before now and what it left, and what I had comments on, they removed. So it's, I mean, it's fine if that's what y'all want.
so before, so it's one of the things I had a question about, need your guidance on is, says county employees are prohibited from campaign activities during business hours and are also prohibited from including county vehicles and or county equipment in any campaign efforts.
That's law anyway, and I'm sure it's in our policy. It's not just as bad as it is, but that's a given.
Okay. So Judge, I have a question. How do we enforce this policy? Is there any maybe I shouldn't have said judge, maybe, is there any means of enforcement?
What the policy says is the enforcement, any violation of the policy may result in removal, referral to the Texas Ethics Commission or other enforcement actions prevented by law. The only thing you could really do, the only thing that we would have authority over would be the county property. And somebody, this says there can be no signs placed on or within county-owned property. If somebody put a sign on county-owned property, we could remove that based on policy. But I mean, as far as, I mean, there's no criminal penalty.
You know, I had a question on that. You know, the polling place for, a lot of times for the election, there'll be campaign signs all down the courthouse square. And by the policy, it says we can't put any campaign signs on county-owned property.
Well, we can have a meeting before that and say, this far in advance of the election, we can designate by this policy, the way I read it is, we can come back and designate when and where signs could be placed on county property, correct?
This says there's no signs on county.
That's what it says.
So that would eliminate the Civic Center and the courthouse square.
And
A building,
annex building.
and it, yeah. Dumps.
I got a question on number 5. Is 90 days before the election, so all signs up now gotta be removed to adopt this, right? To November or December the 4th or whatever.
That's,
Okay, so I think the 90 days is actually a state law.
It-
But, so this is just reiterating a state law. Again, if people put out signs now before 90 days, I mean, it would not be my recommendation that anybody from the county go and start trying to enforce state law. If somebody's putting out signs in violation of state law, then they can be reported, to the Ethics Commission. But other than that, it's not, in my opinion, not our place to enforce the state law with regard to people's units,
Except on county-owned property.
except on county-owned property.
So this is really, to me, it's a great document because I'll just go ahead and say it. You take William here and he's going to run for office, signed up. He don't have a clue. He's not a public official. He don't know what this says. It's not his profession, but going forward in the future, if somebody decides they're going to run for office, we can say, hey, you might want to look at this document. It's a guidance document as much as it is anything. So,
and that's basically one of the reasons. Go to the clerk's office, ask them questions. Look, here's the county sign policy. So,
And most of this, besides the no signs on county-owned property, this is a regurgitation of state law. And there are, publications that explain all this, but I don't know when I ran, I was provided with that. I don't know. That's provided with that.
well, yeah, but a lot of this goes on before they're quote unquote running, right? So they don't go to the county clerk. They don't go to anybody else. They just say, I'm going to run, and they get going. They're eager, excited, and ready to go. And so,
Sure.
this is good. It's a good document. The one about the county employees being prohibited is, that's the one that's has the potential to create guidelines for us, I think.
I also think the one where you can't place signs on any of the property is gonna be, because you always have them everywhere you go. I know in our county, they have them all at the sub courthouse, everywhere on county property. I don't know. I guess that's a state law. That's a county law.
That would be absolutely.
like,
Traditionally, that's been done.
yeah, usually a week before the election, the courthouse square is lined with.
Yeah, up here, they put them over here at the Civic Center, they put them everywhere.
Well, could we modify that particular restriction to say that campaign signs can only be placed on county property, say 2 weeks or 14 days prior to the election taking place?
Yeah, right.
Taken down within the 10 days after, yeah.
Well, we've got to specify, no buildings, just grounds, like, they can't come put a sign here on the courthouse. But
Well, I'd say early voting, we always put it on courthouse.
Yeah.
Some people know. Yeah, so we know, like, you got Babin done it, I done it when I ran. Right. So we all have to know.
Yeah, we're going to.
But that's election, or election.
And there's,
And annex down in Deweyville, we do the same thing.
and it's gotta be so many feet from the polling place, 100
Ms.
feet.
Keenan's bringing up the fact that some of the voting places are county property, and they're allowed to do that, is what she's saying. I don't know, just wanted to point.
That's why we need the exception. Need to add that, put an exception in there for the election week.
No buildings, just 100 foot.
So we would do,
Polling place.
So if you had a sub-bullet under the bullet that said no campaign or political advertising, you had a sub-bullet that said during early voting, campaign signs need to be placed at properties but not on buildings. And then another sub-bullet that said, and 2 weeks prior to the general election, campaign signs may be placed on the property but not on buildings.
one more time. No. 2 weeks prior to general election, they may be placed on the county properties, right? That's what you're saying.
Properties excluding buildings and or equipment. And that allows us to stay with the historical signage, but not have them a month up on a courthouse a month in advance.
Yes.
We'll put that on election night.
24 hours.
Should that say general or general and primary?
Primary and general, yeah, that'd be good. Good catch.
And, can I consider runoff elections too?
Yeah.
We just include all elections.
During any election.
During an election prior to.
I will have to prepare this document again, if y'all don't mind stopping by my office to give me a signature on it when I go through, once you approve it.
I'm making a motion that we approve the Newton County campaign sign placement and policy, advertising policy.
All right,
Amended.
motion is made by Commissioner Powell,
Second.
second by Commissioner Hobson. All in favor? All against? All right, item number 5, approved contract with LexisNexis for legal.
Hey, Vince, before we go on, let me ask a question. And Misty, make sure I don't step out of bounds. The court is not saying here today that we're directing or anything for people to go out and take down all the signs that are already up. We're just saying, hey, this is something we've adopted going forward. We want people to know about it, correct?
Correct, yes.
Well, all the signs I've seen have been on private property.
Yeah.
So, and I think you're allowed, if the person wants to put a sign on their private property, they can do it. They can keep one up year round from what I was told.
Well, that's not what this is.
No.
According to the state laws, you're supposed to, it don't matter if it's private property or not, you're not supposed to start campaigning.
But if I took yours and I was proud of it and I wanted to put it on my yard for eternity, I would argue that I could do that. But it was your private property.
It's not between us and the homeowner, it's between the ethics commission and the candidate.
Correct.
So,
Yeah, well, I have seen campaign signs go busted window panes up. I've seen them there till they fade completely out. So,
Okay, are we ready for the next
all right, item number 5.
one? Please, if
I'm gonna go ahead and read it while you're handing those out.
y'all,
Adopted new approved contract with LexisNexis for legal research software.
okay, and this is, online legal research that is vitally necessary, for the success of our office and our research. I can tell you that. Courtney had it for many years, and back in the budget cuts, whatever year that was before I got here, she let it go, and I desperately needed at this point. I asked her for it. there's money in the budget next year for it. So it's built into her budget, and we're just asking that you approve us contracting with Webster Next Research.
That was the only reason, we let it go because of the budget cut.
Yeah.
Wasn't any kind of,
And I've been limping along, doing fine, but I would be much more confident and feel much more thorough if I have this tool.
So we're looking at $479 monthly in twenty
For the
twenty-six,
first year.
and then it goes up to $503 in 27, and then $529. But that's basically like having a couple legal assistants helping you out. You know, being able to do that. So,
Well, I go back to the fact, we don't pay much for attorneys in Newton County. I mean, with the SB 22 money and the state stipends, I forget what we pay our legal attorneys, but I think it's around.
Well, the state pays Misty everything.
That's what I'm saying. I think we pay around $5,000 for all three of them total.
Oh, no, it's more than,
So John's stipend is
yeah, we still pay John.
33,000 and then 3,300.
Like 3,500.
Okay.
It's gonna go up in 26, but we still get a lot more for what we pay. I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
Well, and
a lot more.
I can assure you that this is not a luxury. It is a necessity. And
Yes.
I don't spend money, so I can assure
that's
you.
not what Landon said.
Well.
Landon who?
Well, I'll make the motion that we approve the contract with Lexington.
All right, motion is made by Commissioner Powell,
Second.
second by Commissioner White. All in favor? All against? All right, item number 6. Discuss and take action on construction bids for GLO CDBG Regional Mid Program Community Shelter. GLO contract number 24-065-03. And Mr. Pat.
Morning.
Morning.
Okay, the county received, 6 general contractor bid on November 5th. And we have gone through, and this was sort of a pretty good exercise for us because I don't think any one contractor didn't make a massive study. So we had to go through all 6 bids, because there's individual items.
Yeah.
All we read at the bid opening were the total of the base bid and the alternates. Let me tell you, let me kind of, as a refresher, the base bid is for the new building, and all of the related site, driveway, parking lot, all the improvements. That's the base bid. We also had some alternatives in there, in accordance with both what the court wanted to see in the building was what the GLO said we couldn't, but just, such as the kitchen equipment. But anyway, on the base bid, the base option for all your paving was concrete, reinforced concrete. And alternate number 3 was to use asphalt in lieu of concrete. Our way of thinking on that was as long as the bids are within the budgeted funds, we're going to recommend concrete. I mean, you don't put asphalt down if you get a good bid on concrete.
I agree.
In my opinion.
Right.
For longevity, strength, it's just a better setup. Well, that was alternate. Anyway, alternate number 1 were the shutters that were requested, like storm shutters. And alternate number 2 had to do with the asphalt.
Security.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the security system. Alternate number 3 was the asphalt, the deduct to go to asphalt. And alternate number 4 was the commercial kitchen equipment. Now, what I would do, what we're recommending with the, first of all, the budget was about 11.3 million construction. If you combine the base bid, with all of your alternates, your lowest best bid was 9,164,854. And the biggest difference in the budget and this amount, in our opinion, is the fact that the original budget was done on a different side than this one, if y'all, everybody remembers. And the amount of public infrastructure that had to go into the budget just to serve that different side, that was your difference. And it makes sense when you look at the numbers. But that being said, of your bids that were received, the best bid was from Construction Managers of Southeast Texas out of Beaumont.
Beaumont or Lufkin?
Sorry,
Beaumont or Lufkin?
they're based in, their base office is in Beaumont. They have another office in Lufkin. I think they've got like 4 offices. The one in Lufkin, I think maybe is one of their newer ones. Those are the folks, I mean, we work with both the Beaumont and the Lufkin office.
Because this says Lufkin on this bid, is why I'm at.
Well, it said Lufkin because that was on their bid pack, but they're based out of Beaumont. As far as the home office. The second was an outfit called Construction Zone, at 9,258,455. Third was HB Nell and Sons, 9,547,110.56. The other bid that we received, we did not put a total, and it was because they gave us a total bid, and they were from Alco, SCI, Construction, and McGinnis. The reason we didn't total it is because they did not provide individual item bids like they're supposed to. And, but their base bids were even higher, so forth and so on, as far as what they put on their bid summary. Just to give you a rundown of the base bids, which was for the concrete option and the whole project. Construction Manager of Southeast Texas was $8,806,705. Construction Zone, $9,029,121. HB Nell and Sons, $9,283,085. Alco, $10,138,000. SCI Construction, $9,257,830. And McGinnis, $10,200,000. So your first 3 bidders they were very competitive. It's one to the other. And what we're recommending, based on our experience with Construction Managers of Southeast Texas, the type of work they do, the quality of the work, and we have some experience with them. Plus, they're the lowest line bidder. Is to award a base bid with alternates 1, 2, and 4. Because we're not going to do asphalt. We don't recommend it. No. In that amount of $9,164,854. Now, going back to one of the alternates, and it was mainly the kitchen equipment. Their bid for that, if you award this contract, that part of the bid is $297,616. And if you'll recall, y'all received a letter from the GLO saying that you can put that in there, but you're gonna have to pay for it. The grant's not gonna pay for it. What I recommend you do is go ahead and award it. Okay? And once it's awarded, go back to GLO. Now, this is just my opinion. I want Mark to weigh in on this too. And see if the GLO will reconsider that decision, because the person that made that decision and sent the letter to the judge is no longer there. Okay, they're changing staff. all the shelters we've done, as what we told you before, this is the only time I've ever seen them disallow that cost. Only time. Only time. And we've done about a dozen of these types of facilities. You know, kitchen is, that's a big thing, you know, providing, if you're sheltering, you know, you have to have a means by which to feed people.
Yes.
So I would say go back, try to get them to change their, I guess, their parent position on that. If at such time they don't change their mind and the county says, look, we don't have those kind of funds right now, then what you can do is you can change order out that amount. You just take it back out of the contract if y'all so choose.
Okay, and that may be an option because, you know, the commercial equipment, the refrigerators, the stoves and stuff, you know, the county can purchase it, you know, for probably under 50,000.
Well, that's where I'm heading with this. So their price,
If the GLO
you're
doesn't,
still gonna have, look, you're still gonna have the only feature that we wish, we didn't want to take any of this out. The only feature that they listed in that letter that in our opinion should not have been removed regardless of who pays for the equipment is the benefit for the stoves.
yes.
That needs to be built in when it's built. You don't want to go in there and try to retro a brand new building to put in a benefit.
No.
Okay.
And the Ventahood's probably gonna be 50,000 by itself.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the benefit is actually a pretty high ticket item. It's 125,000.
Yeah. And the only reason I know that's because I was trying to get one at the store. I'm not no construction expert.
Yes, sir.
They're crazy.
What I would do is y'all have some time to consider, work through how to deal with this kitchen equipment thing, this issue. But I don't think it's a good idea to award the contract without it. Because if the GLO changes their mind, it'll already be in the contract. I don't think they don't have a problem with y'all awarding it. The problem is who's gonna pay for it.
Yes.
So,
And we're not, you know, like I said, I don't agree with that decision and y'all know that.
so your recommendation, or GLS's recommendation is based on the lowest bid in cost to the GLO,
Lowest bidding cost.
to the
As
GLO,
well as qualifications.
to the GLO.
The way the state federal law reads, all public expended projects is you award to the lowest compliant bidder. Okay. The lowest part is easy to determine. That's just the total of the bid. The compliance side of it is whether or not a contractor, there's some experience with them, the quality of their work from past projects, things like that. We haven't had any problems with construction managers in Southeast Texas. They've done good work.
They're right across the street from you guys in Lufkin.
Well, let me explain. They're like any other, that there are many businesses that have multiple offices. And that's all this is. Our dealings with them have been with both Beaumont and Lufkin. The latest was in Lufkin simply because they put an office in Lufkin and they were doing pretty sizable project in the north side of Lufkin. And so, and I guess I've never asked them why they put an office in Lufkin. I'm sure they're just expanding their business. But our dealings have been with both offices.
Well, you know,
Beaumont is like a home office.
so as we sit here and look at this today, I mean, I understand the state laws, but like I said, it's in reference to the cost of GLO and not to Newton County, because what I'm interested is the cost to the taxpayers in Newton County. And the recommendation that you guys are proposing is the highest cost to the taxpayers in Newton County, being CMOST. It's $300,000 or just shy of it. when there's other bidders that are a third of that. I wouldn't want to go with a third of it because it, like you,
It's an alternative. It's because it's an alternative. You have to award the project, when you bid a project, you have to award it on base bid for starters. In other words, in order for, now granted, you can do combinations and look at it, but look at your base bid. They were the lowest compliant bidder on the base bid. So if you award it based on that, in other words, you can either leave out the kitchen equipment and not award it, and just do the total of two of the options plus the base. You can do it that way.
so did they miss their bid proposal? Because the original sheet that we got, and I don't know exactly, I got this from Kaylee. Kaylee, I'm not sure where this document come from, but their alternative three was 921,000.
Yeah, what they did, let me explain. On the asphalt alternative, what they put in their bid, the alternate number three is composed of three items, okay? Where they made a mistake, they wrote, let me explain something here. They wrote there's a bid summary in the bid. That's what we read at a bid opening. That is made up of all these individual items that are under it. What they did was they took the price to remove concrete paving. That was one of the three items of 921,000. Okay, but they did not add back in, put in asphalt and curb and gutter, which was 668,000. In other words, the net deduct to go to asphalt was 252,105. At the bid opening, we read 921, which is what they wrote. But that's not right. That's why we always take these bids back and check them out. Okay, that is not, I don't like it. I never have. However, it happens from time to time. You'll see a bidder make a math mistake.
Yeah, that's concerning to me.
But I want to tell you something about that. We're not recommending to go with the asphalt option. So in our opinion, that's off the table.
Well, it's off the table, but we're still talking about approving a bid when the bid had a substantial mistake in the offer. I mean, when I look at these other bidders and I look at their alternative on the original docket that come to me from the bid opening to what you guys proposed later, I mean, this was a bid opening and then you guys go back and do math and this changes.
You have to.
Well, it didn't change on several of the others. You know,
Well,
the alternatives did.
look, y'all can do whatever you want. I'm telling you what we recommend. I say you can do what you want. I recommend you do what State Bid Law requires. But the reason, let me explain something. When you do a bid opening, that's called a preliminary bid tabulation. Preliminary. It assumes no one's made a math mistake and all that, just to give everybody an idea. Here's the bids. But we have to go, we got to make sure that y'all are getting the value or the contract amount is in line with what they bid. Well, they put individual items and they didn't add it properly.
So I feel like,
Now, that on the base bid, I mean, what Bubba says is true. But on that alternate, that was a big mistake. But we're not taking the alternate. We don't recommend you take it.
But they still made a big mistake.
Well, like I said, y'all can do whatever you want on that. But I still recommend if you go with state bid law.
you're gonna have 850 people in there. You need all this commercial equipment and everything. And I believe you go with this lady going or whoever it was, I think they're gonna go with it anyway. I feel like.
And I feel like they were doing it out of spite. So,
You know, I believe I believe they'll go along with it.
Certainly give it.
Right.
So you're recommending CMOS,
Yes, sir.
construction manager?
Yes, sir. With the base bid,
Okay,
concrete.
yes, concrete,
Yes, sir.
all the way.
Now, on this kitchen equipment, I still think, I think it would behoove the county to appeal that decision about the kitchen equipment back to the GLO.
You know, at least show them, I have no problem doing that.
I'll just say one last time. So the recommendation is to approve the contract. Someone that made over $500,000 mistake in their bid proposal and is also definitely the highest cost to the county on the kitchen equipment. 30% more than some of the other and almost 60% more than others. So.
So,
That's not the main reason we're not recommending the asphalt.
No, I think everybody on court was in agreement. We didn't want asphalt. We talked about that early on. I mean, if we had the money to go concrete.
It's not that I don't like somebody making that big of a mistake, but it's already been pointed out to them. I've already contacted them. I think there was, on the base bid, when we added up the totals for what was read at the bid opening, I think they were $6 different.
and so the three bids that weren't rejected, so it was CMOS,
Construction zone,
HB Neal,
yes.
okay. And then, no, not all.
If you add up,
Okay, the construction, that's another one, construction. I haven't heard of those.
if you add up the total of the three, what I would call blind bids, the ones where all the, incremental items, were filled out properly as far as provided pricing. CMOS was 9,164,854. The construction zone was 9,258,455. And HB Neal and Sons was 9,547,110.56.
I think it's worth pointing out that, you correct me if I'm wrong, but the only bidder that the alternate stayed constant through from the preliminary to your review was HB Neal and Son.
That's probably true. I think that's true. It's what,
I mean, what the data shows.
Right. Let me just point one thing out. It is if the county decides not to award to the low bidder, I don't think that's going to be very defendable. I'm not saying you can't, that's going to be up to your attorney.
There she is sitting right there. So,
I've looked at it pretty closely and I don't think, have y'all had time to look at this really closely? And
yeah,
there's some big changes from the preliminary bid opening to today on a number of these construction companies. I have concerns with that.
Well, I believe Mr. Pat. That's who we always lean to. I go with his recommendation. It's me. One person on this court.
And I feel like he's worked with them and they do good work, you know,
Yes, sir.
and they, you know. Like I said, I think, we like to say, if we appeal it, we're gonna get the kitchen supplies anyway.
So I'm not a construction guy. You are, so I would go with your recommendation too.
I'm gonna make a motion to go with the most offers one.
All right. Motion is made by Commissioner Thompson,
That's second.
second by Commissioner Benson. All in favor?
Aye.
All against?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you, y'all.
Thanks, Pat. Item number 7, discuss participation in the development of the 2028 regional flood plan and methods to identify potential projects for consideration by the regional flood planning group. And that's Mark. He's got a little presentation on it.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning.
Y'all been around me long enough. I usually do it short and sweet. If I start one of my coffin fits, it's gonna be even shorter than that. So I want to apologize. Presentations in church, that's when I usually have them. So we'll see how this goes this morning. They're pulling up a short slide presentation. I have provided y'all copies of this. And once again, we're not going to go through every single slide. I'm not going to read this to you word for word. You're more than welcome to read it on your own. But basically what this amounts to, we're looking at the Texas Water Development Board. And we're talking about floodplain planning. The state is divided up into 16 or 15 regions rather. Each of those regions, there is a regional flood plan currently underway to be created. The ones for Sabian and Natchez counties, the firm of, excuse me, there we go again. Breeze and Nichols is administering those plans. They have reached out to us, asked if we will assist them with the outreach efforts on this to make sure everyone is aware of it, what needs to be done on the county's part to be a part of this plan. And that's basically what the presentation is about. But, thank you. Tell you what, if you don't mind just changing those slides for me, I'm focusing on my copy.
You got water, would the water help?
No, I've got a bottle there. I've been, hey, y'all been noticing I've been popping cough drops ever since I got here. And I'm not contagious. It's just that little throat tickle that gets started and that.
Being contagious since I met you.
All right, so we got the regional flood planning group. Once again, we've got 15 of them here. And we're looking specifically at the Sabine one at this point in time. Let's do it. All right. So why is all this being done? It's done to comply with the Texas Water Code, Chapter 16. We're not going to get way down in the weeds with that. We're just doing it to comply with things. Next slide, the regional flood plan versus the state flood plan. The regional flood plan is what we're visiting on today. That has to be completed. Once each of those 15 regional flood plans are completed, then they are combined, they are put into the state flood plan. All right, this gives you a little bit more information just on the Sabine flood plan. All right, now we're going to get out to the nuts and bolts of it. Y'all may not be that familiar with regional or state flood plans. I know you're more familiar with, you understand a little bit more the hazard mitigation action plans. One of the reasons we complete the hazard mitigation action plan, and the county tries to keep that current. Anybody want to jump in here and tell me why? Come on, guys.
So we can get money if we have a flood.
That's it. That is your key to applying for funds. Participation in the regional plan is your key to applying for funds from the Texas Water Development Board. Texas Water Development Board is going to receive $1 billion, not a million, $1 billion a year over the next 20 years. This is the county's ticket to participate in that. The other handout we have provided y'all that has a QR code. If you go into that, you can complete a short survey. When I say short, after you've done the first one, you know what you're looking for. You can complete one in about 2 minutes. Within your precinct or within the county, and as well, everybody can participate in this. It's not restricted to y'all. When you complete this survey, you have to drop a pin of where the issue is. If you have 3 bridges that you're having issues with, that need to be reconstructed, that you want to apply to the Water Development Board within the next 20 years, you put a pin where that bridge is at. If you have 3 bridges, you would complete 3 of these surveys. If it's a culvert, you'd complete a survey for that. If you have drainage issues within a subdivision, there again, you would complete a survey for that, as well as the homeowners that live in that subdivision. They can complete that survey. But that information on the regional flood plan is your key to applying for these funds. I know that's short and sweet, that's to the point, but that's the gist of the presentation here this morning.
So, I know we have grant workshops, maybe host those. Is there any way, and I'm Judge, I don't know if it'd be you or Kaylee or mine, is there any way we could have a workshop and go online and actually complete one and look at it, because what you just said is monumental to changing Newton County.
It is.
And I know every area has drainage issues, but precinct 4 is at the bottom of the hill. So this is it's an exciting moment for me right here, right now. So I'd like a meeting set up, Judge, if we could set it up, and then you guys get up, put it on the big screen, go through, and I can tell you about 10 of my bridges, just as an example we could use, and go ahead and get.
Sure.
And
Commissioner,
A couple of neighborhoods down there that.
oh, yeah.
We would be glad to do that.
Who's in response to that declaration, is that correct?
No, it is not in response to a specific disaster declaration.
Okay, so that's $50 million statewide for 20 years.
Per county, you're saying?
No, per state.
No, it's $1 million a year.
No,
That's the state or the federal?
$20 billion is what has been appropriated for this program.
Well, actually,
Over a
21.
20-year period.
They put $2 billion in
$1
this.
billion a year.
For the plan.
Okay. What can the county, if they need help? I talked to, for example, we talked a little bit about all the flooding problems down south.
Right.
And waste.
Well, we talked about drainage. There's a difference, right?
Well, that's my question. Can you use it for drainage improvements?
Yes.
You said,
Yes.
yeah.
Retention ponds, detention ponds. And Commissioner, we'll be more than happy to come give a presentation. The only thing I ask is before we do, go into this survey and take a look at it.
Absolutely.
This is not a high-level survey. It's a survey. Once again, the first one you should be able to complete in 5 minutes. It's very simple of enlarge the map, put your finger where the project is. And then the next question asks, the issue you're having, I think one of the questions asked, do you know if this is in a floodplain or not? Yes or no? What creates the issues you're experiencing? Is it rain? Is it hurricane? Is it whatever? And I think there's one more question, and that's it. You're through with that. Now, once all of these surveys are done, then Freeze and Nichols is going to take all this information. They're going to combine it. They are going to follow up at that point in time. Very similar, once again, tying it back to the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. If y'all recall in completing that, there was basically a wish list for the county. If funds were available, these are the things we would like to do to mitigate against future disasters. This is your wish list for the Texas Water Development Board.
Hazard mitigation work, it's not in it, you can't get funding.
That's it. If it's not there, you can't get funding for it.
Just the barcode you talked
Yeah,
about.
that's the barcode, and you're more than welcome to go in and click on that barcode right now if you'd like to.
So is this tied to, I'm trying to look it up upon this.
Sure.
Is this tied to FEMA?
No, it is not.
This is just state of Texas.
This is state of Texas. This is the Water Development Board. And once again, this goes back to the Texas Water Code, Chapter 16, and the Water Development Board rules.
So basically, this is that water fund. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What about something like I got? I mean, my bridge is way out of the water, but both sides of the road is flooded.
Put it on there. Put it on there. And guys, this survey, we created this survey. We created it not for the commissioners, but for a layperson that's not that well versed with computers, that doesn't know a whole lot about the floodplain issues, other than they know they're having problems. So feel free to take this, share it with your constituents, share it with anyone else in the county that thinks this belongs. Once again, this is your Christmas wish list. You can put as many as you want to. You can complete as many of these surveys as you want to.
They're testing the fire pumps. But we're wondering what that was that fired up.
And once again, the flood infrastructure fund, or FIP, a lot of times you hear it referred to as, that's what all of this ties back to, is the flood infrastructure fund. Sirens, that could potentially be a big thing for Newton County. These low water crossings you have, information on those, being able to put equipment in those areas that flood every time there's a good rain. Put that on there. This is your wish list.
Yeah, I know.
Now, once again, to complete the first one, you're looking about 5 minutes. Everyone after that, you could probably do in a couple of minutes. And I apologize, I haven't gone in on this in the past 2 weeks, and I don't remember the exact words. But there's about 4 questions. They're multiple choice. You click on it. Once again, you do have to drop a pin, and dropping that pin amounts to taking your finger, enlarging the map, and in which case it's the 2-finger deal, that you enlarge it to the specific area and say, this is where the problem is. Then you go back and say, this is the problem. First drop-down box, yes, number 2. Next drop-down box is number 4, and you're done. This is the preliminary to get it out there, to let the world know this is a problem. We want this on the plan.
So
It's not saying we're going to apply for it when the funds become available. It's not saying it's going to be done. It's on our wish list. Like the kid at Christmas that does the list that's 4 pages long. This is your wish list.
So it's not just, I'm looking at this and there's a portion of the funds that have been allocated have to be used for what I would call more traditional utility. Such as water systems.
Yeah, there is a provision in there for water systems.
In other words, I'm not saying, what you're saying, I'm reading it right here, but.
Yeah.
But it looks like a portion of it has to go to water.
Yes.
It's in drinking water.
Yes, it does. It definitely does.
Okay.
But and once again, this is to address the portion that county, not to say you're not interested in water. We know it's very important and crucial to
It
everybody.
impacts the county.
Yeah, but we know, and I know specifically with Newton County, with the floods that I'm aware of and have dealt with the road issues, with the bridge issues, with the culvert issues, the drainage. These are the type of things that should be at the top of your radar. As far as timing on this, we would encourage you to get this done as quickly as possible. I would encourage you before lunch, if nothing else, take your phone, open this up and look at it so you know what it is. And then you'll have an idea of, okay, it's going to take me this long to fill this out. Then you can, don't sit down and say, this is gone off on Fridays. This is Thursday afternoon, 4:30. I need to sit down and do that real quick. Know what's in there. If you like me, you're gonna wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning thinking, I need to add this spot and this spot and this spot to it. It's not something you can sit down and do it once because you're not gonna remember it all. But look at your area, think about the things you need to apply for. The more the merrier in getting it submitted.
Let me ask you a question. If you have a neighborhood floods, do you list every house in there?
No,
Or do
you just list the neighborhood
Okay.
and the issues with that neighborhood. Now, everybody that lives in the neighborhood can complete this survey as well. So if you've got, when they look at these surveys and they know that there's 20 people that address the same issue, this is something that Friesen Nichols needs to come out. They need to look at, they need to get pictures of, they need to, it kind of ups the ante as far as them making it a part of this plan. Now, everything that's submitted is going to be looked at, it's going to be addressed. But once again, the more you can get in there, in my opinion, the better it's going to be for you.
Question, like Compton Road, roads in Old Salem, like Mr. Powell got, when that river's up, they flooded. What can they do about that?
Preacher, put them in there. And once again, we're not talking about a detailed engineering design plan. We're talking about, I'm identifying this as an issue. I'm putting it on my wish list to be addressed. You're not saying how it's going to be fixed. You're saying, I'm recognizing this as an issue. I want you to know it's an issue for us when it floods. And once again, and let's just say y'all submit 30 different things. When it's all said and done, y'all might submit an application for one project. But you have opened the gate for those 30 projects for you to decide, okay, this, when it boils down to it, when we look at the nuts and bolts 5 years from now, this is what we want to apply for. Or it could be you want to apply for 10 projects, but this is your ticket to the dance.
I can dance.
I'm gonna learn how to.
All right, once again, guys, the survey, it is very simple. And that's my request right now. Before lunch, just click on it and just look at it so you can see what's involved in it. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm gonna be here all day. In case y'all don't know, we have a grants workshop this afternoon at 1:30. I will be here part to address any questions of that, and I'll be happy to address any additional questions on this, or I'll be happy to answer them now. But I know y'all's time is important. I don't want to stand up here and just go on and on. If it's not information that is not important to you, you don't want. But this is very important. This is an important subject, and I encourage you to get involved with it.
I agree.
Probably one of the most important subjects I've seen since becoming a court member.
And this is where we may be able to help the neighborhoods that flooded.
Yes, sir.
That we haven't been able to do anything about it.
Once again, this is very early on in this planning stage. But it's important you get this information in as quickly as possible so they can set the next steps into place in this regional planning grant. Because once they have this information, Friesen Nichols is going to have to act on it in order to include all of that in the plan. So I encourage you to do that. When are you going to be able to submit applications? We don't know yet. We can't tell you what's going to be involved in the application. We don't know. We can't tell you. What can we tell you? If it's not in this plan, you can't apply for it.
Get on the dance floor.
That's it. Get on the dance floor. And once again, guys, I'm not trying to not answer any questions. I'd be more than welcome to answer any questions you have right now. I just don't want to go on and on with information that's not important to y'all. If you have some specific questions, I'll be glad to answer them. I don't have the answer, you know, I'm going to get it for you. But do not just take this, shove it in the back of your folder and forget about it. I would encourage you to each go in and look at this and be thinking about what you can submit on.
So on this action item, do we take any action on it, Judge, or is it just
I think the action item is just discuss discuss participation, so we don't have to take any action.
No, this is primarily just a presentation for y'all to make sure you know it's there and to encourage you to respond to it. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you very much,
Again,
Mark.
y'all feel free to reach out to me at any time on this. And we'll get you answers.
Okay,
Thank y'all.
thank you, Mark. All right. We'll move down to item number 8, which is review and approval of fuel and material bids.
Requesting, I think that we accept, we had 3 material bids and 2 fuel bids.
You want to talk to me?
Oh, yeah, the vendor for fuel were Suncoast and Buildover. Material was Atoyac, APEC, and Texas Materials.
So I found out they was doing a bid review and I asked to take part of it yesterday. And I drove up and sat in on that. You know, there's no doubt all 3 of the material providers that provided or picked reviews, the prices, can't do much about it, but the bit material bids looked solid. What I would say is on the fuel bids, that the fuel bids was, one bid was for like 0.218 cents above the current price to the provider. So let's just say, throwing a silly number out there, say they were paying $2 for unleaded fuel and you would go out, you got it. They would add that to each gallon as their profit, correct?
Yes.
And that was from Dover, and that was on branded fuel.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the unbranded fuel is provided by Suncoast, 0.395 cents per gallon. So it's more profit on top of the gallon. But when we looked at the price per the gallon, the unbranded fuel was so much lower that it left an advantage on that fuel, Suncoast. So the Suncoast fuel cost to the user was actually lower, but it wasn't significant. It was like if you have tanks and such set up, it probably wouldn't be any payout. If you're using Dover, or got a system going, it wouldn't be any payout one way or the other. That was my interpretation of it. But I had asked when this was brought to the court, why we're doing sealed bids, and some of that was discussed yesterday. It was there's no identified law that says it has to be, but it is commonplace practice throughout the state that you do sealed bids on this, because at some point, if we use have a grant or something, they may go by those sealed bids that was turned in for this.
You know, like Suncoast, they provide my tanks for me,
Mine as well.
Mine too.
but
I thought you all used Dover.
yes,
Well, there is
The office uses Dover and maintenance.
and that's because they don't have a site with the tank and what have you.
That's because they have the fuel paid.
Yeah, it may make sense. I mean, and again, taxpayers aren't losing a large amount of money because of the convenience of Dover's fuel station, but the commissioners are saving, I don't remember, 17 cents a gallon with the unbranded fuel.
Yeah, it's my understanding Dover sold the station, but he kept the fuel, the card lock facility. So,
I didn't either.
I've not heard that. It's interesting.
But from what I've seen, I make the motion that we accept the bids presented to the auditor's office for fuel and materials.
I second.
all right. Motion made by Commissioner Pound, seconded by Commissioner Benson. All in favor? All against? Item number 9 is budget amendments. Do you have any, Terry? All right. Item number 10 is payment of bills.
Payment of bill.
It's my money and I don't need it.
General fund, $126,946.22. District attorney statements, $238.40. Road and Bridge General, $151,247.79. Road and Bridge Precinct 4, $54.83. Commissioner Special Precinct 1, $6,553.20. Commissioner Special Precinct 2, $16,823.62. Commissioner Special Precinct 3, $10,798.76. Commissioner Special Precinct 4, $8,709.27. Under Preservation, $200. Solid Waste Disposal, $191.06. Newton County Library, $849.39. Historical Operating, $289.47. And Technology Fund, $263.36, for the total of $323,165.37. Okay, with this being said, I just want to let the commissioners know that on the payout, on the piece of equipment that we're paying out, $60,000 will be rolling back to the commissioner's general fund. Out of that, $151,000. So you'll only be paying $90,000 out of the $134,000 that we received from the payoff of the maintenance truck. Did I get you? I was real confused.
No,
So
that,
you'll have a $41,000 savings there, because I'm rolling that money up from the debt service that we have in the debt service right now.
so what that means to the commissioners is that each of us basically agreed to give 20 some odd $1,000 away to precinct 3
Yes.
to get him a boom mower going forward.
Okay. What was going on?
Instead of, it was a lot more, we thought it was a lot more than that, but it's gonna be a lot less.
But that piece of equipment is paid off, or will be paid off
Right.
tomorrow.
I don't know about that, I didn't get a cut.
Merry Christmas.
And that should be the very last part. So,
Make the motion, we pay the bills.
I'll second. All in favor? All against? You done got a change?
Fireworks.
Oh, she's already fixed it?
Time is it?
they're very bad. She's got a place for you. Yeah.
That- Put it on front, so I don't fail.
Oh.
Here
We
we
didn't stick around until you change that.
That was it.
This is it? Good.
We went down and changed it.
Don't blame you.
Hey,
All right.
I got it.
You get it?
What?
But,
No, I ain't got it.
You got the number.
I got the number.
Oh, okay.
I thought you said when you said you got it.
I guess it-
I believe it's half.
Mm. Yeah, buddy.
Left side of the table.
Make a motion, we adjourn this court meeting.
All right, motion by Commissioner White, second by Commissioner Benson, all in favor? Man.